Hello, everybody. It's Eric Taylor from BigEAstrology. This is episode 168, Knowledge is Love. And you know it is. Astrology podcast. And tonight, I am joined by my amazing guest, Mr. Art Giser, Energetic NLP. Hello, Art. How are you this evening?
I'm great. I'm so looking forward to hanging out with you and seeing where the conversation goes.
Oh, that is definitely a very calm and fluid statement from a Pisces Sun, Pisces rising. And tonight, you guys in the collective in the astro weather, hello to everyone in the chat. It is a Pisces moon right now in the cosmos. So that's really great for the astro weather for our show and our conversation. And, Art, I think we'll wait as the room warms up for you to really explain and break down for so many people who are new to neuro-linguistic programming and what an energetic NLP is. But I want to find out, because I'm always fascinated with my guests and sharing them with the audience. Who is Art Giser, and did the young 8 or 10-year-old, the 4th, 5th grade, because I got 5th graders at home, did the 10-year-old Art Giser ever dream or imagine of the life and career that you have now?
Well, kind of yes and no. I mean, the yes part would be I knew that I wanted to explore the powers of the unconscious mind and telepathy and ESP and miraculous abilities. One of my favorite comic book characters was the Green Lantern, and
love the Green Lantern.
And now of course I liked him. He was, for those of you who don't know, he from an alien, he'd gotten this ring and this lantern of energy, and when he charged the ring, when he thought, his thoughts turned into energy and became real and could create things.
Great comic.
I was around energy and thought, so I'm thinking, okay, no wonder I like the Green Lantern. But the other things, like I used to go to England 5 times a year to teach, and I've taught in Brazil and Paris, and no, the young me would not have would have imagined I'd be traveling as much as I was, and that that I'd be speaking on stages all over the world, and that was something that never occurred to me.
So, at what age did you really start to not recognize, but really understand some of your intuitive and psychic, or maybe at that time, maybe not understanding psychic, but spiritual gifts or awareness? What was that kind of like young aha, like, this is different or this is unique moment for you?
Besides the more mystical powers of the mind part, I was very interested in science. So I always liked both. But somehow I knew I could hypnotize people. I was doing it in elementary school. I knew there were these abilities that I could help draw out in people. And I mean, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I knew all that was possible. And somehow I knew that was something for me to be doing. I mean, I was just totally attracted to it. And my mom tells this story. We were in a library, and I don't know how old I was, but I was a little kid, and I wanted to check out a book on hypnosis, and the librarian wouldn't let me check it out because I was a kid. So my mom checked it out for me. My mom said the librarian gave her this, "You're a terrible mother" look,
Oh my goodness.
But and I had this from a comic book, they called them hypno coins. They were like a spiral with some kind of plastic in front. When you moved them, it looked like the spiral moved. This was, of course, before you younger people. We didn't have laptops and smartphones, and I would use that to hypnotize people. But then I realized I didn't even need to. I could just talk to them and hypnotize them. But I didn't know I was psychic. I was fascinated by that, but I didn't I had a couple little things, but overall, I didn't really think of that as something that I knew it was something I was interested in, but I didn't necessarily think that I had that ability.
Okay, because that's really fascinating. Because I think, and in sort of, and hello to everyone in the chat, and for those on live, please comment and say hi, and we will get to you shortly. But for you, you guys, Art is a Pisces rising sign, a Pisces sun, and also Mercury, all in the first house in the ascendant. So for those who understand that, what Art was just kind of explaining to us, right, in your I am first house, right? That's where we're born, time we chose to be born, the parents. The rising sign is in the eastern horizon in the sky, the time you were born. Pisces ascendant people are literally like super intuitive, spiritual, creative, great, vast imaginations, but also they can really kind of morph and shapeshift to like, any type of environment. And when you would, make friends and stuff like that, was that something that you would kind of tap into right away? Or would you kind of hold back and kind of see if it was safe for you to kind of engage that way spiritually with your counterparts?
That's a good question. I don't think I held back that much. And one thing I did forget to mention when I was, I don't know, 5 or something, as soon as the lights went out, I would see these other realities. It'd be like being in an IMAX movie theater. And I wouldn't be, it'd be like showtime. And it was other realities with different physical laws. And it was kind of a little bit like Dorothy being in Oz, and that some of it was beautiful, some of it was frightening. But I couldn't control it. So I spent years shutting it down. And I knew I was seeing something, but not. I don't think necessarily what I was seeing was literal, but I think it was a bleed through. It was my mind interpreting other realities. But they had very different physical laws. And if somebody touched like a window, the glass would come around them, envelop them, expand, and they'd be in a new reality. And it was really things that as a 5-year-old I'd never heard of. In terms of, I was a patrol leader in the Boy Scouts, and some of the guys are still friends of mine. And we would be at a campfire, and everybody else would be asleep in the troop. And I would start going. We'd look at the stars, and I'd go, "Does the universe end? And if it ends, like, is there like a wall? And if it ends, what's on the other side?" And here we are, these little kids, and we're having all these wild conversations.
I love it.
So on that level, I could get people engaged in my like crazy thinking and like saying the hypnosis and playing games, pretending we were on other planets. And so,
oh my gosh, Art, would you just describe, you guys, and we're gonna, Art's gonna read some of the comments and take some questions soon. But would you just describe is exactly, so you guys, Art said the key word when he went to sleep at night, but then even at nighttime at the campfire, Art's 12th house for the Pisces rising, right? 12th house. It's Aquarius, where he has the Aquarius Moon and the Jupiter. And we'll get into that as we talk about more of your science background and your research. But that is very, very much like describing the spiritual scientist guru energy, but even just the kind of at night, almost like just kind of seeing things and traveling and tapping into these realms. That's really fascinating. Now, can I ask you, do you think you got some of these gifts from your mom or her lineage, or potentially from dad? Is this something that's in the families and the generation?
Maybe not as overtly as for some people, but my mom could really read people.
Yes.
And so I don't know how she thought of it, but she could. Like, we'd be watching TV and there'd be some Hollywood couple just got married, and she'd go, "Oh, they'll be divorced in 6 months," and they would be. I mean, and she'd go, "Oh, so and so loves so and so." I mean, she really, and so I didn't know how she did it. I thought she was seeing something, but I don't. She wouldn't have described it as psychic, but I'm sure it was. And
Oh yeah, mom had the gifts. That's
yeah.
awesome.
And my father was had a very deep spirituality, um, and I definitely that fed that in me too, but not a necessarily according to anybody else's structure. It's just his own.
And that totally makes sense. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think, depending on, our different generations and stuff, those were things that, whether it was your parents or even my parents, that they did not really speak of, but it doesn't mean that they were not tapped in or had these, gifts that are, whatever. And your mother, and I mean, the moon is you, your body, your intuition, your health, your family, but it also indicates your mom. And so that moon being in Aquarius, conjunct Jupiter in the 12th house, it does kind of indicate that you and your mom, probably exactly had that. So I want you to read a couple comments in the chat, take some questions, but leading into that, give us a brief intro. What is the energetic NLP? Like, explain, because that in itself is fascinating.
And just as a little teaser for people, at some point we're going to talk about using things from energetic NLP to work with astrological influences, particularly when they're not the influences you want. And so, no questions yet, but from Knowing, hi Big E, I owe you an email response. Lisa said hi. Knowing saying my son is a Pisces Moon, he has a similar ability. So.
Oh yeah.
So energetic NLP. I'll start by explaining what NLP is, or Neuro Linguistic Programming. And for people who haven't heard of it, you've heard of the most famous person in our field, who is Tony Robbins. Now he has his own, value system and style and rah-rah, and I'm going to dominate you into changing. But the core of his ability to change people's lives comes from his study of NLP. And I think he started about a year or so before I did. I think he's done a little better on the marketing and stuff. And he's helped a ton of people, whether you like him or not. But NLP was developed as a way to make rapid, deep personal changes in that really powerful, fascinating system. I've been a trainer in NLP since 1985.
Wow.
But even before that, but really intensely when I started studying NLP, I really got into studying psychic development, healing, energy work. And a lot of people that where I studied NLP in Marin County, which is on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge from San Francisco. And if you throw a rock in Marin County, you're going to hit a yoga teacher, astrologer, personal life coach. Somebody
sounds like I got to go visit.
Yeah, and you'd love it. You'd love it. And it's beautiful redwood trees. And so there were a lot of people there that started teaching me things and introducing me to my first teachers. And what I realized was, you could do miraculous things with NLP, and like anything, it had its limitations. You could do miraculous things with transformative energy work. It has its limitations. You can do miraculous things with spiritual principles and clairvoyance and psychic development. And I realized, so I started, I think I might have been an alchemist in a past life. I like to mix things, even when I cook.
We'll get to that in the chart. Right. Yes, there's indicators that show that. Definitely. You said it right there, but go ahead.
That would make sense. So I started going, well, what if you weave this in and weave that? And that was the birth of energetic NLP. So NLP is a portion of energetic NLP, along with the spiritual principles, healing, transformative energy work, psychic development, but all of them influence and affect one another to make something unique. And I do want to make one other comment. A lot of people misunderstand NLP because of certain people who are very out there who promote it as a way to manipulate people. And people go, isn't NLP all about manipulation? And I'll go, no. I mean, anything powerful can be used for manipulation, whether it's mythology, religion, spirituality.
All of it. Everything can be.
But the roots of NLP, and 99% of the people you meet in the NLP world are fantastic, caring, compassionate people, and there are the we used to call them the NLP young Nazis. I mean, that's way overstating it. But there's the people who got attracted to it because, oh, I can get laid, or I can make more money, or I mean, nothing wrong with making more money, but
Right.
I can bamboozle people or influence people in ways that are not wouldn't meet yours or mine or your viewers.
Right. They're not of a moral standard. Exactly.
But that isn't what NLP is. NLP is this beautiful, lovely system that, like anything powerful, you can use it lots of different ways.
Well, I really like that. And for me, I think so much right now with what's going on in the world, there is, as we are stepping into the age of Aquarius and then Pluto going into Aquarius in 24 to 44, we're seeing this spiritual awakening, the enlightened age, where people are more open and receptive to exploring spirituality and science and the mixture of both, and understanding the things that were in the mystery schools, the occult knowledge, right, whether it's astrology, numerology, things with the mind, intuition, psychic abilities and gifts. And so this is really the time, because I think of it as the collective and, healers like yourself and from myself, that we are really remembering,
Yes.
what I mean? And I think that's what's happening. And I think it's really wonderful, because it's going to open up in so many positive ways. Because one thing that you said, a lot of people do know some of this ancient wisdom and knowledge, but they've been kind of hiding it and hoarding it for their own power structures, right? I know the famous quote from JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, CEO of Chase, that billionaires know and use astrology, only millionaires don't. Well,
really?
That's a good statement for astrology, but it's also kind of like, the power people. I tell people, and I tell this to my audience all the time, you want to understand these ancient wisdoms, because the people running the show behind the scenes that we don't ever see, they know it and they use it every day. So you better learn and know it so you can do it for good and positive things in your life, and you can avoid some of their deception and trickery too.
Yeah. And I just want to say, some of the people who withhold the information were doing it because they didn't think people could handle it. But I think that was a different time and space and just an old idea. But yeah, it's an open secret in Silicon Valley that a lot of execs use astrologers. They use psychics. Nancy Reagan was really big into that, and would do that.
Well, did you know that's how they scheduled meetings with Gorbachev, Reagan, and also Nancy Reagan's breast surgery?
Yeah.
Isn't that fascinating? I mean, wow.
And a couple of questions. The first statement, Angel saying, yes, ancient, nothing is new. And, I'll just comment. I remember telling one of my teachers back in the 90s that I thought I'd have to meditate in the cave for 20 years to be able to do what I can already do. And I go, and he goes, yeah, I think things have changed, what I really wanted to point out for people is, in this time of spiritual awakening, it's very common that triggers things in people. So you also can get more violence and stuff as part of the transformation. So that don't think that, because there's violence in the world, it doesn't mean that we're not in this great awakening. It's just sometimes that comes with it.
Oh, yeah.
And knowing, so can this be done in group setting, or is it more effective one-on-one? It absolutely works both ways. And I do one-on-one work, but I do a lot more group work. And knowing, is there any success stories you can speak to? I'll get back to that.
Yeah.
The question before that, how receptive were corporations to your approach? In everything, let me preface this by going, everything in energetic NLP is permission-based, which a lot of healing work isn't. And it's so important that it's permission-based. But permission doesn't have to be conscious. You can learn how to connect with their spirit. And so when I would do corporate work, I would be connecting with people and going, okay, what do I have permission to do here?
Right.
It'd be no accident that they'd end up with me. And so I'd be working with their energy and doing energetic NLP often in ways that I could explain on a psychological terms, which is also true. So what I'm trying to say is most of the time I don't tell them that's what I'm doing, because if you're a publicly traded corporation, the press would have ripped them up. Oh,
Right.
their energy workers come in, and and I didn't want my clients to have to deal with that.
Of course, yeah.
And and at some point, I think that's beginning to change. But
I believe so, because you see a lot of CEOs. Right,
yeah,
here's an example. Even the NFL allowed Aaron Rodgers. They had no issue with him doing ayahuasca. And so a lot of these executives are doing things like ayahuasca and
sure.
spiritual retreats. And you've got Fortune 500 companies, coming and going to Sedona and Mount Shasta. So it is extremely open now.
Yeah, it's getting more and more. And this was a few years ago now. I was speaking in London, and the Times is the premier newspaper in the UK, Times of London.
Yeah.
There was a reporter there, and at the end she came out to me and she goes, "Oh, I loved it. I can really feel the energy. I can see what it did for everybody else. It was really fantastic. I'd love to write about it, but they won't print it unless I rip you up, and I'm not going to do that." Yeah. So,
Well, that was really nice of her, though.
yeah, no, it's great. And so I'm just saying, there was still, there's a certain danger in a publicly traded corporation to admit that's what they're doing, but it's changing. There's some question, angels come out. There's always the yin and the yang, always
Yeah.
be balance of dark and light. Don't you agree? Yeah, I don't necessarily think of it as a balance of dark and light. But I think the wholeness is all of that. In that, when often it's sort of like, have you ever seen somebody that everybody's happy so they get angry because they're not? It's it can trigger things in people. There was a group of Buddhists doing a sand mandala in Salt Lake City once, and and it's a whole process, and they're praying and everything. And this man would come every day and just stare, and they knew he was really getting triggered by all this, and he ended up like going into I think it was a library building, and a friend of mine's wife was there, and he took hostages and stuff. And
Oh, wow.
if we had time, I'd tell you the whole. It's like a movie. I mean,
Yeah.
the cop. I mean, the whole thing.
Was he Mormon or was he specific?
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, but whatever, it was just triggering him. But they said that wasn't unusual for people to get triggered. I mean, taking hostages was, and
Well, that's a whole level, another level of triggering, right?
my friend's wife escaped being a hostage because she got some divine guidance. It's a whole story. But
Right.
the point for now is just that when you bring in the light and stuff, it starts activating things in people, and sometimes, they don't know how to deal with it yet. So again, the fact that there's all these reactions going on in the world doesn't mean that we're not in this great time of transformation. It just means that there is light and dark, and everything's getting activated.
Right. So I have two really interesting questions that will correlate with your birth chart that I want to ask you. So one, getting back to the Pisces Ascendant, have you felt and experienced in your life and then all your years with this work with the Pisces Ascendant, sometimes you may experience where people try to put you in a box or define you where, oh, I know Art Giser, he's da 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 da. And then in the same time, sort of juxtaposed to that, where you can be a little spiritually idealistic or unrealistic in terms of how you view others, because you may be able to see the greatest potential in another human, but they may not ever want to reach that or even have the good mind to try to reach that. Have you experienced both of those things?
Oh yeah, you nailed it. And I've done a lot of work on both of those.
Oh, good. Okay.
Both not expecting other people um, to understand the way I see things or to agree with it.
Yeah.
And the what was the other part of what you said? It was
Well, sometimes you being either unrealistic or idealistic because you can see, you know what I mean? There's that compassion and empathy that Pisces has where you can see, you know, you may meet somebody and you could be like, oh my God, this person could be or has the potential to be this, but they're just kind of here and they want to stay there.
oh, I used to get irritated at people like, you know, I would see them and going, but you're this. And
Yeah.
it's, and of course, somebody could have said that about me too.
Right, right. No, no, we all can experience, but I'm just saying that's a gift that Pisces, you know what I mean? It's a gift and a curse that Pisces has because it's almost like you walk around with this magical fairy dust that the world, that this 3D world can't necessarily comprehend. So in some ways, people could want to try to put you in a box, label you, or even take advantage of you. Because Pisces risings, there's a purity that you guys have that is just, you know, it's really magical.
Well, yeah, I mean, I did a lot of work on letting it be okay that people don't, you know, put me in a box. That, you know, to really, and NLP really helped with that. That going, well, that's just what people do. Most people,
Right.
it's how they get through life is they put things in boxes, and we all do it to some extent. So, in fact, I had this wonderful mentor, a woman named Hazel, years ago, who I don't even know how to describe her. I mean, she was way beyond psychic. I mean, wise woman. I mean, and she was physically beautiful and beautiful person and
Yeah.
incredible talent. And she was she put it, she was raised to be an ambassador's wife. She went to finishing schools and stuff, but she was a very liberated, kind of almost hippie-ish woman. I mean, not to look at her, but thinking
Right,
that
right, right.
she could have fun with the other part. And she would bring up things that I wasn't even talking about. And one day she goes, honey, you've got to give up on this thing of people understanding you. And I went, why? And we hadn't even been talking about it. And I go, why? And she goes, honey, how often do you meet people that are capable of understanding you?
Exactly.
And I don't mean that in a superior way. It's
No, no, just really getting you.
yeah.
Just getting you. Yeah.
And I
That's
went,
great.
no.
That's wonderful.
And she goes, that's why. And then she goes, your job is to be the great mystery. And then when you deal with people, like a chameleon, take a form that they can understand. And then you go back to being the great mystery, then take a form they can understand. And she brought in all these analogies that were very meaningful to me that wouldn't be meaningful to other people.
That is really Pisces Sun and Pisces rising right there. That wow, she saw you and she got you.
Oh, she was.
That's wonderful.
Oh, she was. She was an amazing talent and wise person. And when she was working, she just would tap into incredible sources of information.
So take us through some of your scientific research in California and at the university and kind of explain that to everybody because that really gets into your moon, Jupiter, and Venus in Aquarius in the 12th house. And I think it's fascinating.
You know, I full transparency, I was reading what people wrote, and could you say that again?
It's okay. No. And if you want to comment on what people are saying, yeah, please do. No, I was just saying, you know, in terms of your scientific research and your experience in California at the university, kind of, you know, take us into that window because that really greatly explains your moon Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius and your Venus in Aquarius in the 12th house.
Well, as I mentioned, my father was actually one of the early computer guys, mainframe computer guys. That's why we moved to California. He was in charge of operating, I think, the second or third commercial mainframe computer. And so I love science. And you know, I'm like in fourth grade, I brought in a book. They had new pictures of Mars, and I did it for show and tell. And I was so shocked that nobody else cared, right? No, I was the only one who thought it was fascinating. I remember thinking like, oh, okay. And I love science fiction and all of that. But and then when I was in the lab was when I realized that I really love science, but I didn't want to do it all the time. But we were studying So during pregnancy, a woman's hormones levels shift with estrogen and progesterone, and the tissues start responding differently. And everybody knew that, but they didn't know how it happened. In this, we were doing something called receptor research, which now people talk about epigenetics and endorphins. It's how they discovered endorphins. It's very similar kind of research to what we were doing. So we were looking at like what's actually going on in the cells that they respond differently. It's what you call pure science research, but then it can be used for different things. But wow. You don't know how to design things until you know how they work. I mean, not always, but it certainly helps.
For the most part, yeah.
And then there were some other projects that we were involved with, but that was the main one. And now I was a pretty good. I was better at managing the lab than particularly as a researcher because
what school was this at, Art? What university was this?
University of California, San Francisco Medical School, which
wow,
we didn't have a team, so people aren't aware of it, but it's one of the top health science research institutions in the world, and and I was proud of what we were. In fact, I laughed one day. We were all working, and we would work with radioactive substances, but very, very weak, so you could trace what was going on in the body. I mean, they were so weak you could hold them in your hand; it wouldn't hurt you.
Right.
And I started laughing. Everybody goes, "What's so funny?" And I remember now my childhood dream was to be a scientist working with radioactive materials, and everybody started laughing.
Like Green Lantern type stuff, exactly.
Oh, and then one of them went, "Should have had a better dream," and I went, "Yeah."
Oh, that's awesome.
And somebody's asking, knowing what modality you use or prefer to use to assess somebody or a group other than your Pisces intuition, of course. So I use the NLP. NLP is the original idea in NLP was you're trying to figure out the structure of somebody's subjective reality, meaning how, what's their internal world? How are they structuring it? Because you can have 20 people who grew up in the exact same environments, and they're 20 very different people because they make meanings and they think differently. And it's the basis of our skills and our problems and everything is how we think. And NLP has a lot of different ways that you analyze that. And one of them is that I like a lot is what we call presuppositions, which is another word for assumptions. And so when somebody says something, being able to go or does something, what do they have to be believing consciously and unconsciously to say or think or do that or to feel that way? And it causes you to really understand people much more deeply, because even if you think of somebody doing something really terrible, if you start thinking, what must they believe that seemed like a reasonable thing to do? And you start understanding how their inner world is put together. It's similar in a way, I think, to, you hear about these people sometimes who will like work with gang members, often they're ex-gang members, and they turn them around. Or there's this African-American guy who gets people to leave the Ku Klux Klan. He gets them to realize it's not a good thing.
Right.
He's got stuff on YouTube and stuff. He's fascinating. But it's because rather than just going, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, he understands they have these unconscious beliefs about race and people and blah, blah. And he just, I don't know how he would describe it, but he changes those beliefs in them. A
lot of that stuff, and I do this with my clients, my astrology work is very much about, through the Chiron wound, healing the inner child, excuse me, and then really delving into people's Pluto, 12th house, Black Moon, Lilith, and different placements that really get into the subconscious mind. Because I know that what happens with a lot of people, we have this programming from parents, media, school system, siblings, neighborhood, all these things, right? That really kind of form these ideas in our head. And if we are not actively trying to be conscious, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we are using our subconscious mind almost something like 80 to 95% of the day. So it's very hard for us to really make these conscious, aware, focused decisions. And so many people, they're on that kind of rote memory programming.
Yeah.
you know. And I was reading an article recently where someone was even saying, just start, you know, and I don't know if you've ever used this with people, but I thought it was pretty clever and funny. But let's say if you're right-handed, like just start every morning in the mirror brushing your teeth with your left hand. And
Right.
you've got to do that, you've got to like really kind of think and be conscious and focus. And these little shifts sometimes can, you know, change our habitual habit. Like if you leave your house every day and you go left, well, tomorrow go right, see what happens, you know?
Oh, that's really powerful. And a lot of times people, I don't think it's 80, 90% we're run by our unconscious. I think it's probably 99%. One of my NLP
I was trying to be generous, Art.
one of my NLP teachers said the main function of your conscious mind is to make up reasons why you did something unconsciously. And that's an overstatement.
And you guys see, this is why I have Art on, and this is why, like I tell you guys, it's so important. We've got to really do the deep introspection, investigating work to really reprogram our mind. It's so powerful, so powerful.
Oh, absolutely. And the good news for everybody is sometimes it's important to do that very, with a lot of conscious awareness. But in energetic NLP, a lot of times what we do is you put your spirit and your inner wisdom in charge, and you don't have to figure it out. You let your spirit and wisdom figure out what's holding you back and then what to replace it with. So that very often you don't have to figure it out, which is, I'm kind of a type A lazy person.
So wait, do you help? So, do you help people to better tap into their intuition and to learn to listen and trust it?
Oh yeah, and there's a concept in energetic NLP that's unique to energetic NLP that we call your miraculous self. What it is, and the word spirit and soul, people use them in 80 different things. So let me explain what I mean by them. And my apologies to the people that I have it backwards because people use it in all different ways. What I'm calling your spirit is the higher frequencies of your non-physical self. The higher frequencies of your non-physical self. And you can think of it as literally being further above your head and your aura. And the higher, so it's all you, but those higher frequencies of you are what I call the spirit. And that's where you're really tapped in. You see the big picture, you know why you were born, you know how your life is, and everybody's life is part of the unfolding of humanity. Even if it's somebody drunk in a gutter, we're all doing this thing together. And your spirit gets all that. The only problem with your spirit is it's a lot like the perfect parent in that it goes, whatever you want, dear. You want abundance? That's a valid spiritual path. You want to constantly struggle? That's another valid spiritual path. Not because it doesn't care, but it sees all kinds of spiritual paths as being valid. And what I'm calling your soul are the lower frequencies of your non-physical self. And you can think of them being closer to your head. And what I'm calling the soul, it's kind of like a click up from your personality. It has wants, it has needs, it has fears, it has issues, it has blocks. It's very connected to this life and certain past lives. And maybe something happened in a past life that was really bad, and your soul's going, oh, don't do that again, even though it may have nothing to do with this life. What we do, what the miraculous self is it's when your spirit with that vast perspective comes together and aligns with your deep inner human wisdom. And don't worry about exactly what that is. Your spirit knows what it is. Your deep inner human wisdom knows what it is. When they come together and they start working together, they can guide you, nurture you, heal you, help you manifest in a way that is in keeping with your higher spirit's view and knowledge and information, but it's still very practical. So that I'm not saying that nothing bad will ever happen, because that's not a human life, but a lot of unnecessary problems and challenges don't happen when you do that. And when you are faced with challenges, you feel guided and supported and nurtured. So an energetic NLP, and we'll all do this in a little bit. Everybody first creates their miraculous self, which is like so easy. People try to make it hard. It couldn't be easier. And then you put your miraculous self in charge of consciously you set your intentions. You give your permission for miraculous self to be in charge, and then you let your miraculous self and the energy do all the work. And you don't have to figure it all out. Your miraculous self knows what's limiting you, and it knows what to replace it with, what wisdom, knowledge, concepts, skills, abilities. So it's why I can work with a couple hundred people at the same time, and they're all having a unique experience because their miraculous self is deciding what happens for them. My job is to get the energy flowing, and which, by the way, anybody can learn to do. It's not like only special people can do it. Anybody can call upon earth and universal energies, and that's part of what I teach people. Don't want to go too lateral, but I do want to mention for a lot of healers, and this is what I used to do too, we use our own energy to heal other people. Super bad idea. It's like when I was first learning healing, and I was one of those guys at the gym, everybody would go, what exercise do you do for your chest and your arms and stuff? I mean, I look like the picture of health. But I was absorbing all these energies from other people and giving my own energy away to my clients because that was what I was taught to do. And so I looked great, but I felt bad. And I was having problems that weren't mine, and my stomach hurt, and my sinuses were off the charts. And it was because I was taking on their energy to heal it, which is the old-fashioned way. And I was using my energy to heal them. Is that Hazel I mentioned before? She said to me once, she goes, it's so cute the way you heal. And I'm like 34. And
God, wait, Art, you got to remember, because I'm already in love with Hazel. Do you remember her birthday and what sun sign she was?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember. She was.
That is great.
I don't know what the start was. But, she, and I was at 8 now. Like if somebody said I was cute, I'd like it. 34, like cute. I'm not cute, I'm manly. And she did it deliberately. And I went, cute. And she goes, yeah, it's so old fashioned, which was strike two. And she goes, this is the new age. You don't heal them in your space. The healing's in their space. And you don't use your energy, use earth and universal energies.
Exactly. Wow. So wait, I want to kind of, because I want you to guide us, through what you were hinting at, but real quick. So what Art just kind of verbally described, you guys, I just want to take you. So he has Uranus and Cancer in the 5th house, Pluto, Leo in the 6th, and the Neptune, right? Pisces Ascendant, Neptune and Libra in the 8th house. And so when you talked about in a past life, we could see past life karmas in the 5th house, and you having Uranus and Cancer there, it does speak to you being this nurturing, caring, innovative, alchemical like healer in a past life, but then also in this life, through your creative self-expression and just, really even from your heart, there's this, Uranus is just basically the spiritual awakener, and it taps us into like God's source energy, but we can get these downloads. And for you get these downloads, but then you know how to dispense the language in a very safe, caring, nurturing way, which is Cancer. So that's a really dynamic and fascinating placement. And I wanted to just make that correlation. But even what you were describing, that stuff and how I kind of work with my clients and explain to them Uranus and Pluto and Neptune and just, our unconscious self and spirituality and the subconscious mind. So it's really, really amazing. So why don't you take us on a little mission, a little journey as a group?
The way people can find out about that if they go to the word miraculous, the number 7.com, miraculouslucky7.com. Okay, so everybody take an easy, deep breath. And there's a couple things I was thinking about doing, so let me see what's... Okay, I wasn't going to do this one. This is a little more advanced, but it's easy if you let it be easy. And one of the It's something that you can use to clear unconscious and energetic blocks. And sometime we can talk about it more in depth, but it's one of the ways you can work with astrological influences that aren't what you want, is to start clearing what in you will be activated by them and then replacing that so that you can more dance with it. So I once went on a 2-week trip to Italy, and it was all during Mercury retrograde. And I thought, oh God. But we just kept working with our energy, and everything was seamless. Everything was perfect,
I
in
love
spite
that.
of Mercury retrograde. But it was because we just kept not fighting the Mercury retrograde, but just going, okay, what's it activating in us? Let's keep clearing it. Let's bring in energies that will help us flow with Mercury and not fight the retrograde. And everything was perfect. Okay, so let's set our energy space. I'm going to describe these things as visualizations. If you're not a good visualizer, it works perfectly well if you pretend that you're seeing it. Because if you pretend that you're seeing it, your unconscious mind will. So if you see it, great. Otherwise, just pretend you're seeing it. So imagine there's a giant gold ball of energy, and while we're working together, we're all inside of it. And it's our energy space for tonight. And let's just declare it's a space of miracles. It's a space of effortlessness. It's a space where you feel loved, appreciated, valued, worthy. And it's okay if little buts come up in your head. Just don't fight them or feed them. Just notice them. Be mindful of them, but just keep coming back to this is a space where you're loved, acknowledged, appreciated, where on an inner level you realize that your life is part of the whole unfolding of the universe in ways that we may never consciously understand. But to be able to connect to that sense of you, everybody's life is meaningful. And just really let that start to sink into you. Let's create your miraculous self. And as I said, this is so easy. Some of you will try to make it hard. in energetic NLP, the function of your conscious mind is set intention and give permission and use your imagination. It's like if you went to get a massage, you consciously have to decide to do it. You have to have the intention. You have to give the person permission. And then your job is to relax and let them make you feel better. In the same way, you're going to learn to put your miraculous self in charge and let the energy do all the work. The other ingredient that's super important is imagination. And what I mean by that is if you're sitting there going, is it working? Is it not working? I'm feeling something. Is this what I should be feeling? Is somebody feeling something more? Oh, I shouldn't be thinking. Should I be thinking? If you're doing all of that, you get in the way. So while it's going on, just imagine that it's working. Imagine the energies are coming in and your life is being wonderfully enhanced. Later, you can analyze it as much as you want. While it's going on, like a 5-year-old, if you were a 5-year-old and I went, okay, imagine magic energies are coming in and making your life better, you just giggle. And it wouldn't be about believing it or not believing it. It'd be like, oh, okay, I can have fun with that. And it would work. So treat this that way. Like it's just a fun little game. And if it works, it works. Now, to create your miraculous self, all you have to do is set your intention that your spirit, and it knows what it is, and your deep inner human wisdom, and it knows what it is. Set your intention that they're going to come together and form your miraculous self right now. And then give 100% permission for that to happen. Because just because you have intention doesn't mean there's permission. As a sentient being, you have a right to give permission in your life. So just give permission for that to happen. And then just pretend they're coming together. They're figuring out how to work together. They're figuring out how to nurture you, guide you, support you, heal you, help you manifest. Okay, and then now just imagine you have a miraculous self. And the more you use it, it evolves, but it already exists and it's already powerful. And pick some area of your life that you'd like to improve. and this will be recorded, so you only need, just pick one. You can, you can watch it. Eric doesn't mind if you watch his stuff a lot.
Please watch the replay. Yeah.
Over and over and over again. This is a good thing. YouTube loves it. So just pick some area of your life that you'd like to improve and set your intention that what we're doing right now is going to wonderfully enhance that area of your life. And give 100% permission to receive that. Give 100% permission for your miraculous self to be in charge. So while this is going on, you may, be thinking different things. Don't fight that. Don't feed it. Just be mindful of it, but just keep coming back to it's just your miraculous self is doing all the work. And then now imagine energies are coming in now, and your miraculous self is identifying unconscious blocks, energetic blocks, spiritual blocks, and it's the energy starting to dissolve them. Heal them, dissolve them, very lovingly, just and powerfully coming in and healing them, dissolving them. And you don't have to get them all at once. Again, you'll have the recording to watch. There's something we call the Goldilocks principle. In energy work, faster and more is not the same as better. Whatever's just right is just right. Just like Goldilocks would say, she's looking for what's just right. So set your intention that whatever's just right for you right now. Take easy, deep breaths. If you feel the energy, that's great. If you don't feel it, it still works. You may temporarily feel aches and pains as blocks are being released. If you do, that's fine. You'll be releasing some old emotional energy. A lot of it won't even be yours. A lot of our emotional energy isn't actually ours. And when emotional energy releases, a lot of times you don't even notice it, but sometimes you feel it on the way out. So if emotions come up, just be mindful of them. Go, oh, good, I'm releasing whatever that is. You don't need to do anything about it. Just let it go. Now, you have chakras in your body. Most of you are aware of that. A lot of people don't know there's chakras above your head, below your feet, and there's a lot more than 7 in your body, a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
And there's energy channels and all the layers of your aura. Luckily, your miraculous self knows all about it. So just imagine the energy is working all over your energy field, all your chakras, all the energy channels, wherever it needs to work. And while these blocks are being dissolved, set your intention and give permission that your miraculous self is going to download into you wisdom, knowledge, concepts, skills, abilities, attitudes, and behaviors to replace what you're releasing that will enhance your life. And the great thing is, you don't need to know what they are. They're coming from your spirit and your inner wisdom. So just let them come in. They're better than what you would consciously make up. You can even imagine like your energy field is being rewired for this part of your life to be better. Just take some easy, deep breaths. There's no effort. Energy, your miraculous self are doing all the work. And you can even imagine energies coming into your cells, working with the cells, the DNA. You don't just have physical DNA, you have energetic strands of DNA. A lot of people see them. I see them too. And a lot of people say there's 16 of them. I have no idea. I can't see them that clearly, but there's a bunch of them. So let the energy come in and work with both your physical and energetic DNA to enhance it. And your cells and your organs and your body systems. Let them all get wonderful energy work right now. Easy deep breaths. And now imagine energies are coming in to help you process and integrate the benefits of what you just did. You're going to be processing this for at least days, and that's good. So this energy will help you process it in a more flowing, easy way. And if you want to do something fun, this is kind of a more advanced thing we do in energetic NLP, is let some of this healing work happen in your past. So imagine that the energy is going into your past and healing your recent past. So that some of this already happened weeks ago. So you've already changed and adapted to it. And some of the energy is moving into the near future to help you even more with this in the future. So most of it's happening in the present, but some of it's happening in the past and some of it's happening in the future. Now, if you're doing anything after this session that requires safety, set your intention and give permission that your miraculous self and your unconscious mind will make sure that you're grounded, safe, and alert, grounded, safe, and alert, grounded, safe, and alert. And also set your intention that tonight and for the next 3 nights, part of the time when you're sleeping, not all night, part of the time when you're sleeping, your unconscious mind will review what you did in this energetic NLP energy spa meditation. When your unconscious mind reviews it, your miraculous self will infuse it with wisdom, knowledge, concepts, skills, abilities, attitudes, and behaviors from your miraculous self. While you're sleeping, the benefits will be made deeper and richer and wider. They'll be made higher and more multidimensional. And most importantly, while you're sleeping, the benefits will automatically be integrated into your mind, emotions, body, and energy field. So that while you sleep soundly, deeply, wake up feeling refreshed, the benefits are automatically being integrated into your mind, emotions, body, and energy field. And that can happen easily, naturally, while you sleep soundly, deeply, and wake up refreshed and eager to start a new day. Let's dissolve that gold ball, our group energy space. Give the earth permission to send a grounding column of energy up near the base of your spine, and give the earth permission to ground only your authentic energy into your body. Only grounding your authentic energy into your body. And your miraculous self can use that grounding column of energy to release any energies it wants to release into the earth where it gets transmuted and recycled. And it also can bring up loving, nurturing Mother Earth, Mother Nature energies up into you. So it can release down through it, and what nurtures you can come up into you. Now, we've dissolved our group energy space, but it's really important that everybody retrieves their energy back from my space and everybody else's space. If you don't retrieve your energy, you'll be depleted a bit, and it's not good for other people. And it's really easy. Just ask your miraculous self to pull all of your energy back from all of us. and we'll pull all of our energy back out of your space. Now, if there's any of that energy your miraculous self doesn't want to keep, it just goes down your grounding into the earth. Anytime you do a powerful energy process, you always want to fill up. So ask your miraculous self to fill you up with more of your authentic essence. And it knows what your authentic essence is. Your spirit knows that. Imagine your cells, your DNA, your chakras, your organs, your body, energy channels, your energy field. Everything's being imbued with your true essence. And your body and energy field are also being filled with earth and universal energies that will help you now and in your next steps in life. So you're completely filling your energy field. In front, above, behind, below, left, right, inside, outside. And then there's one more thing to do. When you do an energetic NLP process, your energy field is better and it's more authentic and it's different. And sometimes pets and people pick up on the inner level, they pick up on something's different. And it's not that it's bad, but it's just different. So we discovered an easy way to take care of that. And we call them spiritual emails. And when somebody changes their email address, they send out an email going, I'm not at that old address, I'm at this new one. They're not asking for your approval, they're just telling you. Spiritual emails, your miraculous self sends out messages to everybody in your life and just informing them, this is what my energy looks like now. Bye. You're just letting them know. Include your pets and plants. And because pets really sometimes get confused for a while. Include your pets, your plants, and include the people you haven't met yet, but your spirit wants you to meet them. And then wiggle your fingers and toes and start to lightly move and stretch. And you can even stomp your feet, pat your body. Ear massages are a good thing. There's a lot of acupressure points in your ears. It also makes you look silly, so it's hard to take yourself seriously when you're working on your ears.
I work on my ears every day.
Yeah, oh, that's smart. So smart.
And the reflexology in the feet, very important.
You have to learn more about that. I kind of do it intuitively, but I should learn more about it.
Wow.
How are you feeling?
Art, I gotta tell you, I was in that golden bubble, and that was I feel miraculous. But that was wonderful. Oh my goodness. Comment. You guys, please. I'm still kind of in that space, I hold my energy back, but it's very, I was ready for that. And so I allowed myself to really go, and I really appreciate that. And I just want to sort of say this and give people time. If you want to ask any final questions, you guys, put it in the chat now. But this, to me, best describes your Libra and Neptune and Mars in the 8th house and your South Node, because I felt like you just were kind of probing in the spiritual realm and taking us on this journey with the Neptune and Mars and Libra in 8th house. And 8th house is the thin veil between the sort of the 3D and the 5D, death and rebirth, transformation. It's intimacy, our in-laws, power, control, inheritance, it's other people's money. The 8th house is really, but it also gets into things that are hidden and underground and, old knowledge and everything. And so Neptune is the evolution of our spiritual growth for our soul in this incarnation and this journey. And with the Libra being there, I think that it really describes how you peacefully and harmoniously, sort of take people to these places. And that's what I just experienced, obviously, with what you were doing, but also my astrological knowledge. That's really what I've experienced and felt. And so I really love that. And I feel like this experience tonight was even a great teaching tool in terms of astrological placements, the Uranus in the fifth house, your Jupiter moon and Jupiter moon and in Aquarius in the 12th house and all the Pisces energy. So I really want to thank you. And, and I really, I hope you guys in the audience and people that watch this on the replay, so often we can hear about astrological placements and we can think we understand and interpret. But this is why when I have on guests who are amazing, like Art and just in general, it's important, the chart is very private and intimate. So that's why I don't show it you guys, but just to give you a couple of placements that are really speaking to Art's gifts, but then how he actually uses them. This is astrology in action and in practice and in full color in a life. So thank you, Art, for being open to sharing this and just to kind of revealing and sharing not just your energetic NLP, but just even parts of your story and your journey. Because it's almost like we were time traveling through your chart with your actual intuition and gifts and scientific knowledge and childhood memories and joy. So I just want to thank you because I think it was very powerful for the audience and what I love to share and give the insight to people astrologically. It's magical. It's wonderful.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's fascinating for me. Of course, it's about me, but it still is.
It gives you insight too. I love it. That's great.
And I just love your energy and the energy of your podcast, and it's really one of the most fun times I've had on a podcast.
Well, that's good. And that's always my intention, but that's where I really, I don't use words lightly. And so I am coming out with rebranding and redoing my website, and I'm coming up, I have a newsletter starting soon, but I have these sayings that I've had almost my whole life, and I call them eisms. And that's what birthed this show and the podcast, because it's called Knowledge is Love. And one of my eisms has always been, when you love someone, you keep them in the know. Because love, you should never have to guess, assume, or believe, because you can do that wrong. Yeah. So that's why knowledge is love, and I love my audience. I love my guests. I love sharing truth and wisdom and knowledge. And, I don't believe in hiding information and knowledge from people. And so that's why my podcast is called Knowledge is Love. And I feel that if the whole world tapped into that and was willing to exchange that, we would all be off in a much better place.
Oh, I love what you're saying. And it reminds me, I was hearing somebody was coaching to like art-centered entrepreneurs. And one of the points he was making was that people are often, they're like, when they're doing things like this, like, I can't give away my best stuff for free or my best ideas. And the guy goes, that's what you want to do. It's like, it's the opposite of the old way of like, keep your cards in and don't let people know. And
absolutely.
You really embody that. And some very nice comments in the chat. And Lisa signed up for the course. Yay! Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks. Nice comments. And knowing said it was almost like a combo of yoga nidra and hypnotherapy.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Christina. That's deep. Yeah. Knowing, she's got powerful energy herself. Yeah. That's the thing too, Art. What I love, my audience
Yeah.
They're special. You know, and it's not just because it's mine. Even when I tune in on other people's podcasts and live, and I read people's chats and see stuff every once in a while myself because I'm just curious. But what I love, and I know that I am a co-creator of this with my energy and spirit and intention, but here people commune with each other, they give insight, they talk to each other, they ask questions,
Mhm.
they engage with my guests because they know I'm not going to bring on somebody that is not going to be like spiritual food for them, because
Mhm.
that's my intention. So they're very receptive and they're welcoming to new people. I have regulars that have been with me for a few years now, but then when new people come in, and maybe some of the regulars aren't on one live or whatever, but the new people, they just come right into the same role, the exchange and greeting one another. And it's something that I'm extremely proud of.
Oh, you should be. I mean, I was already, the energy of the people and what they're saying in the chat is really beautiful. And at least saying chat's not working. I think they are working because I'm seeing your chat.
Yeah, the chat's working. Yeah. Oh,
Oh, okay, there it is. Yeah.
they're coming in fast and furious. Well, you want to read one or two more, and then you guys will say goodnight. And then Art, as we say goodbye, I want you to just give all your contact information again, because I want people to support you in any of your endeavors, classes, courses, social media, website, whatever. But why don't you take a couple more comments and questions, because people are really throwing them out there now.
One comment. Thanks, E. Feelings mutual. You were a super dynamic host. I totally.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And Sabili, I'm sorry if I'm.
Sabale, yes.
Ollie, I'll be reaching out. It's been a crazy week. Great. And people saying hi to one another, which is great. Yeah. Oh, so my email, which is the harder one to remember, art@energeticnlp.com.
Okay.
Also, if you can remember, my name is Art Giser, which is Giser, just one E, Giser. And there's only a couple of us on the planet. So if you search for me, you'll find me.
Oh, you'll find Art easily, you guys. He pops right up. But I did link his website in the description down below. And you guys, like always, sometimes I forget to ask, but please do me a favor. Share this with people, because this is stuff that can really help friends, family, a neighbor, a stranger, a coworker. You don't know who could be blessed or touched by this or inspired to, make a shift or a change in their lives. But once the live is over, in probably about a minute, make sure you come back and just comment. Just say, hey, thanks, Art and Eric, or great live, or thumbs up, anything, fire emoji, because it really does help in the algorithms. And, I'm trying to grow and share my gifts, but share these shows with people, because I think that, I know that they can truly help and benefit others. So please come back in a minute or two and comment, on the post, because I love all your comments in the chat. But to help it grow in the algorithm, you got to come back and comment once the show is over. Okay. So thank you so much, Art. You're the best. And you know what? You're family now. You can't be a stranger. So, soon into 2024, we'll schedule something. We have to have you come back on, because I know you have more goodies to share with the audience. And I think they would really love that too.
Well, you read my mind, because I was thinking, I want to be on again.
Yes, yes, definitely. So that would be nice. A good way to start off 2024. I would definitely like that. And maybe if we get, closer towards your time of year, Pisces season.
Oh, right.
So that would be really fun. So, all right, you guys, this was wonderful. I think we kind of really explored and have an insight now to understanding the energetic NLP and neuro-linguistic programming. Is there any other quick little message or tool, like a little nugget for people who are curious that you may want to share as we're, ending the show, to them to either research or to explore, or to, just even book a session with you?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, that's great. And in the that free program, the Blockbuster 3.com.
Yes.
Highly recommend that. You'll learn some simple, really powerful energetic NLP techniques that you can use for the rest of your life. You can either use them being guided on the videos, but after you've done them a few times, they can just become part of an easy daily energy routine. So super recommend that. And again, the Discover Your Miraculous Abilities program, the one at miracle7.com, that's I'm very proud of that program. That's a truly life-changing, fun program. So I encourage people to look at that. And thanks for all the wonderful comments in the chat. And thank you, Eric, for the wonderful work you're doing in the world. I think it's important work you're doing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I definitely received that. That's always my intention. I was a teacher for 13 years. My mother taught for over 35 years. She was a Pisces rising like you. So for me, I always think of it as, like I said before, you and I are both remembering. And now it's time to really be a part of the good things for humanity and the collective in this time. Because listen, let's be honest. We all know what's going on in the world. These are not easy times. It's challenging. But I know that we're built for it. We signed up for this. So that's why we're here. So always keep a positive mindset and, love over fear always.
Oh, can I mention,
Yes.
I just wanted to mention, every Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, I do a meditation online. It's called Change the World from Your Living Room, where we do a world healing, and then everybody gets an individual healing.
Really?
And you just change the world from your living room.com.
10 a.m. Pacific. And so is that a link that's on your website, or how do people find that?
Well, the easiest way is if they go to changetheworldfromyourlivingroom.com, which is
there you go. Changetheworldfromyourlivingroom.com.
Or email me, or if you sign up for any of my things, you'll be on the mailing list. But it's every Sunday, and we usually get about 140 people, and I'd like to grow it, because the more people, the more we can influence.
The more we can change the world. Yeah, amen. I love it. That's wonderful, Art. I commend you for doing that, and that's the good work that we really need. So that's great.
Lisa said, "Good night. We are built for it." Amen.
Yes, Lisa. Yes, definitely. Yes. No, that's wonderful. So, all right, you guys.
Everybody.
All right. Thank you so much. This is Knowledge is Love, episode 168, with my amazing guest, Art Giser. You guys, be smart, be safe, be careful out there, and vibrate from that heart chakra and love. All right. Thanks again, you guys.